Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Linebreaker Sports. I'm Game Day Greg alongside Benny Buckets. This is episode number 25. It's a very special episode for us. We have been out the past few weeks due to a couple different things, but we're back. But we have the Super Bowl special this week. We will go over our NFL season records, our overall record in the regular season, our best bets, our upset special. We'll have all the numbers. We have the stats and analytics guy, Benny Buckets, on that. So he'll break that all down, and then we'll go over five player props. We'll do five player props each for the Super Bowl. There's over, I think we said in the pre-production meeting, over 2,000 prop bets for this Super Bowl. So a lot to choose from. And then we will finally give you guys our Super Bowl prediction. But Benny Buckets, I haven't asked this in a while. How are you doing today?
I'm excited. This is the big game. This is what you wait all year for. One of us had the at least one participant in the Super Bowl, correct? And potentially the winner of the game. The winner of the game, as you may recall, still in the running here. And if it comes to fruition, the home team, which is actually the road team in this case, playing in the home stadium, if Benny Buckets correct, will be victorious.
Yes.
Not to be confused, because seems to be a rapping halftime show with Snoop Dogg and Eminem and Dr. Dre and Mary J. Blige. Not to be confused with Notorious, aka Notorious B.I.G., but Victorious. So also not to be confused with former Yankee shortstop Gregorius. For all of you.
We haven't been back in a couple weeks, and he's already spitting this fire. Are you kidding me? That was your best one of the season, and we're not even 2 minutes in.
We're not even 2 minutes in. We're already on the first tangent, of course. We have a multi-sport tangent as well as a halftime show reference. So
and a Yankee shortstop. Yep.
Former Yankee shortstop, current Phillies shortstop. Although I don't know if we're allowed to say his name because of the lockout for all of you, right. All of you folks who follow baseball, if that will be resolved or not, and it's anybody's guess. But regardless, here, yes, we're gonna go over. We have some good stuff here. I think we've got 5 prop bets, combination of actual prop bets, so game prop bets, and player prop bets here for you, as well as of course, the pick for the Super Bowl itself. Just going back, because we have posted our picks on our Twitter account. You can follow us at Linebreaker Sports, the number 2, at Linebreaker Sports, the number 2. So we have posted the picks recently. So just to give you a brief recap here, we do mean brief in every sense of the word. The wild card round, I don't know if we gave you a recap on that or not, but we'll do it anyway. Wild card round, Benny Buckets was 3-3 overall. Best bets, I was 0-2, and this upset special. Special! I was 1-0. Can't be too loud. We have noise restrictions there in Mississippi.
No, that was much needed. It's been a couple weeks.
Well, we this was last week. The wild card round was last week of the upset special, because we didn't do shows and there were less games to choose upset specials from. So that was the last upset special. So on the year, I finished up at 5-5 on the upset special. Best bets also was our last week for best bets. Finished up at 25-22. And the regular season, we wrapped up at 103, 102-1, and then we went 3-3 last week. And then for game day, Greg, he went 4-2. He hit on the Bengals -5.5 against the Raiders, the Bills -4.5 at home against the Patriots, Eagles, and the Bucks over 45.5. He got a backdoor cover there. He lost with the Cowboys outright. He had the Cowboys -3. They lost outright, of course, to the Niners. Chiefs -12.5 was a win over the Steelers, and the Cardinals. Rams game over 49.5 did not come in. So overall, 4-2, bringing his total record on the season, or for the playoffs, to 4-2, but his overall record, including the regular season, was 114, 97-1. A very impressive total there for game day, Greg. On the best bets, he was 1-1 with the Bills -4.5 over the Patriots, and he lost on the Cowboys -3 at home against the aforementioned 49ers. And his upset special was a loss as the Cardinals got absolutely wiped by the Rams. So that's what we had there for the wild card round. Moving right along to the divisional round, this was not a particularly good week for Line Breaker Sports. Myself did not do well. We went 0-4. Had the Titans -4. That was an outright loser. Packers -5.5. Also an outright loser. Bucks -3. Outright loser. And the Bills were underdogs. It was a loser at them +2. They certainly were heading in the right direction there, folks. But were not able to close the deal, and 0-4 there in the divisional round. Again, no upset special, no best bets. So both myself and Game Day Greg 5-5 on the year on upset specials, and 25-22 in best bets, identical records there. For Game Day Greg for the divisional round, he had the Bengals +4, which was a winner. Not only did he cover, but they won outright. He had Packers Niners over 45. That was a loser. Bucks -3. We already went over that. That did not cash. The Rams won that game outright. And the Bills, Chiefs over 51.5, 52. Not exactly sure where he got it, but regardless, it was in the 60s. So he won either way. So he was 2-2. That brought his record up to 116, 99-1. And my record after the divisional round was 106, 109-1. And then for the championship round here, folks, so this will be the last summation for you before we get into today's picks here. I had the Benny Buckets had the Bengals Chiefs over 54.5. That did not happen. It was a 27-24 Bengals victory in the AFC Championship game. So 51 did not come in. But we did have the Niners. They did not win the game, but they did cover by a half point. They covered by the almighty hook, by hook or crook, as it were. 20-17. They lost outright, but they covered the 3.5. So losing by only 3 to the Rams. So that was a 1-1 week for Benny Buckets in the championship. So we were at 107, 110-1 overall in our 118 game bets this year.
218.
218. Excuse me, 218. Thank you. 218 with the math, with the confusion on the math, with the witching hour.
It's okay. We're rusty. That's all right. No worries.
Little rusty. And then for Game Day Greg, he was 0-2. He had the Chiefs -7, and that was a loser outright to the Bengals, who won by 3 in overtime. And then he had the over on the Rams Niners over 45.5. That also was a loser. The total in that game was 37. So he was 0-2. So he finished up in his 218 bets pre-Super Bowl 116, 101-1, which is very impressive. Very impressive. 15 games over 500 up until the Super Bowl picks. So how we're going to do it today, we're going to do a little bit different. Like we said, we're going to count our props because we don't have a separate subcategory here to count these bets. So we're going to count the props as regular game bets. So we're going to have 5 combination of player props and game props. We will go ahead and we will alternate here. With the alternation on the props here. So those will count towards the overall record. And then we do, of course, have the game itself, and that will also count as an additional bet or an additional result. So we have 6 total results for the Super Bowl, putting more of an emphasis on the quote unquote big game. So Game Day Greg, you want to get started here with your first prop? Sure. We do not have this week where we do not have where one person, if it's used by one person, it can't be used by the other, where they're embargoed. So it can be reused if that were to happen.
Do we want to give a disclaimer?
Oh, yes. I almost forgot the disclaimer. Yes, we have 2 disclaimers now. Please gamble responsibly, especially on a weekend like this with so many options as there specifically at the app we are using. This is, of course, the great Caesar himself created.
We can read it.
Read it this time. So we're 3-2, 4-2.
3-2 on it, being able to read it.
With the white screen versus being able to be with.
That's a fantastic record, by the way.
That is, hey, listen, that 60% is going to get you in the Hall of Fame if you hit 600. So. But so please gamble responsibly. Only gamble with funds that you can afford to lose, and also make sure that you're using multiple sports books. Although, as I will say here with Caesars, it seems like they are the leader here in spreading these props. does not seem that any of the other sports books have nearly the breadth or the vast variety of Caesars when it comes to this, which is why we're using Caesars.
But no free ads, but we
no
do like Caesars as our sports book. And then
we do like it for the bets, but I will be honest with you guys, a little disclaimer here. The in-game, they do not let you cash out most of these bets, folks. You do not get the in-game cash out option. Now that might be better for some. I personally am prone to do that, and usually I lose on those. So maybe that's a good thing, but the other books do let you typically cash out for the most part. Caesars does not. They seem to have a lower percentage of games you can cash out. So that's the one thing that's not so great about Caesars. But anyway, we will move forward here. We will digress and move forward. So Game Day, Greg, if you'd like to get us started here on the first prop bet or player prop bet for Super Bowl 56.
Sure. My first prop bet for Super Bowl 56 is going to be Van Jefferson over 32.5 receiving yards.
Oh, okay.
And that's at -115.
Interesting.
Just to give a little reason why, I think the Bengals defense is going to be heavily guarding Cooper Kupp. He's going to be double teamed all day with a safety help over top. That's going to open up some receiving yards for some other players. OBJ on the other side, they're going to have to give some attention to. So I could see Van Jefferson going over 32.5.
Over 32.5 receiving yards. Okay. Yeah, excellent. All right. I'm going to go a little bit different. I'll go with a player prop here. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow over 36.5 pass attempts. A couple reasons here. One, I do not believe that the Bengals are going to be able to run the ball very effectively here against the Rams. The Rams have a top 10 defense against the run, and they are far worse against the pass. They were, I believe, 18th overall. So I don't know exactly what they're against the pass, but clearly if they were 6th against the run, they were clearly much more compromised against the pass. Now, with that being said, I do expect a lot of pressure on Burrow, so he's going to probably get the ball out quick with a shaky Bengals offensive line and a very well-regarded and high visibility of name recognition on the Rams defensive line in particular. So I like the over here. I also think that it's a good possibility that at some point in this game, the Bengals may be behind in this game, which would lend itself to probably more passing than rushing attempts. So I like the over 36.5 pass attempts for Joe Burrow.
What was the juice?
-115.
-115.
-1.
Okay, I like that. Pass attempts. Okay. My next prop is going to be the first charge timeout. I am going with the Bengals -110 here. And here is my thinking here. If the Bengals get the ball first, and that Rams defensive line, led by Aaron Donald, gets a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow, gets a couple sacks or causes some hurry-ups or whatnot, I could see the Bengals taking an early timeout. I just think with the way the game's going to go, the Rams are going to be in a little more of a groove offensively than the Bengals, at least to start out. So I could see an early timeout taken by the Bengals. So that's one of the weird ones that we are offered here on this weekend. So I'm going to take advantage of it. Bengals -110 on the first charge timeout.
Okay, sounds good. I am going to go kind of playing off that and to segue off that. I am going to go with a game prop here. I'm going to go with the first, what will happen first in the game, a sack or a touchdown. I'm going to go sack will happen first in the game. Regardless of who gets the ball, I just don't think a touchdown is going to be scored very quickly in this game. I would say I would think maybe even the second possession of one of the teams possessing the ball before a touchdown is scored in the game. So I do like the sack first. I think the Rams will have quite a number of sacks in the game. I think the Bengals might be able to get a couple. So I will go with I think overall there are going to be many more. I think there are going to be more sacks in the game just from a general standpoint than there will be touchdowns. So I'm going to go overall sack in the game. First thing that happened in the game, a touchdown or sack will be a sack -110. Also bear in mind, folks, a sack does not have to be somebody being tackled in the backfield. It can be somebody falling down. It can be a quarterback falling down in the backfield. It can be a quarterback running out of bounds, folks, for a loss. That also goes down to sack.
Yes.
So I like the first thing to happen in the game, give me a sack -110 over the touchdown -110. So sack first.
Very good. Thank you for that descriptive definition of a sack. For our viewers, if they don't know what a sack is by now.
Some people may not be aware of all the intricacies of everything that goes
Right, right. For our first-time viewers here on the Super Bowl Sunday show. All right. My next prop is going to be the opening kickoff touchback. I am going to say yes, -105 as opposed to no, -125. So opening kickoff touchback, yes. I just think the game's going, the adrenaline's flowing, the kicker is going to try to kick the ball as far as he possibly can, and therefore there will be a touchback. So I was a little surprised they're favoring the no on this. So
there's a reason why. There is a reason why. It's not. There has been a return of the opening kickoff in 9 of the last 10 Super Bowls. So that may be.
Has there really? Wow, I did not know that fact. I did not know that stat. Okay. Very interesting. But if Evan McPherson is kicking off to the Rams, I do not see a return.
Okay. So the only chance of a return, he says, is if Matt Gay is kicking off.
Yes, if Matt Gay. Well, when you kick a ball 47 yards and end up short, Matt Gay had a field goal attempt of 47 yards last
year. He hurt his hamstring, apparently. That's what they said in that game.
Right. That's probably what I would say too if I was in that situation and missed a 47-yarder short.
Hey, he made the Pro Bowl. He missed one field goal all year, in fairness. So
okay, yeah. Well, Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl, so that's how much the Pro Bowl.
An excellent fantasy kicker. An excellent fantasy.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, opening kickoff touchback -105. Okay, that's what he's got there. All right, so I am going to go with another prop here. Speaking of kickers and field goals, I am going to go with the shortest field goal made in the game. Shortest field goal made in the game. I am going to go over 27.5 yards. So between both teams, the shortest field goal will be over 27.5 yards, -120. So that basically means that the yard line of which the ball will be snapped from will be the 10-yard line or 10-yard line, 17 yards, 17 yards,
13-yard line.
No, 11-yard line. It's 17 yards. 17 yards. So 11-yard line or greater. So I believe that will be the case. So give me the shortest field goal made in the game over.
You sure it's 17 yards, not 15?
It is
5 for the snap and 10 for the touch end zone?
No, it is 17. It's 10 for the end zone and 7 for the snap. But
7 for the snap.
Yes.
Okay.
17 yards.
Folks,
college,
down below.
College, I believe it's 18 yards. But regardless, I'm going to go over the 27.5 yards.
Over 27.5. Okay. We're going to have to look that up post-show because, just a little razzling of the cohort there. All right. So he said shortest field goal made over 27.5. All right. Sticking on the field goal topic there, both teams 35-yard field goal or longer. I chose yes, +110, as opposed to no, -140. I think there will be a field goal of over 35 plus yards by both teams at least some point. Don't really have a explanation for that, just a gut feeling.
So over both teams over 35-yard field goals. Okay.
Yep.
So is it over 35 or is it 35 plus?
35 or longer.
35 plus.
35 yards or longer. I should have specified that. Yep. 35 yards or longer.
Or field goals. And that's made, correct? Not attempted, correct?
That is made, yes.
And the is +110, you said?
Yes, +110.
Okay. Yep. And just because we don't even have to wait until after the show. We are looking at right now. A field goal is normally 17 yards. 7 yards. 7 yards in Canadian football. That's what it says. Longer than the
Canadian football.
7 yards in Canadian football. Longer than the distance to the line of scrimmage. So it's 17 yards. It's 10 yards to the end zone and 7 yards to where the holder places the ball. So it's 17.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected then. It is news to me.
Yes. No worries. All good. All right. So get that. All right. Next, I'm going to go get the props I have left. I have 2 player props. I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford over 39.5 yards, longest completion, -115. He has the most completions of any quarterback this year in the regular season, over 40 yards completions or longer. The Bengals defense isn't great to begin with. and they are one of the worst teams in the league against slot receivers. And the Rams happen to possess the best slot receiver in the league in Cooper Kupp. I think this leads to a long completion to Cooper Kupp specifically. So I like the over 39.5 yards for the longest completion by Matthew Stafford. Minus 115, the juice on that.
You said 39 or 39.5?
39.5. 39.
Okay. And minus 115. Okay. All right. Very good. I could see OBJ having potentially a long one as well.
Sure.
I like that. All right.
Your last prop bet.
Yes, last prop bet is going to be T. Higgins over 69.5 receiving yards, minus 120. My reasoning behind this, I think the Rams defense, I know Jalen Ramsey has said he wants to line up specifically on Jamar Chase pretty much the whole entire game. I think you could have a little help over the top because I do think Jamar Chase could burn Jalen Ramsey one-on-one. But I love the T. Higgins' hands. As weird as that sounds, his hands are the best hands on the Cincinnati Bengals and maybe top 5 in the league. Everything that hits his hands, he catches. I don't know how many drops he's had. Then we may have to look that up at some point, but he does not have very many drops. And I think the secondary wide receivers for both teams are going to have more yards than the primary receivers. I see the offense is spreading it out. There's going to be a lot of help with the number one receiver on both sides. So that's going to open up the field for these secondary receivers. So give me T. Higgins over 69.5 receiving yards.
T. Higgins over 69.5. He says, okay, great. Very interesting. And he says minus 120 is the juice?
Minus 120. Yep.
Okay. So for my final prop bet, I'll go with another receiving prop, also from the Bengals. I got to get the juice, though. Give me 1 second here, folks. Sorry.
Ooh, let's guess, folks. Is it going to be Jamar Chase or going to be Tyler Boyd?
It'll be neither one, actually.
Or Uzama?
Not him either. It's going to be Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon over 24.5 receiving yards, minus 110 on the juice. Reason being is I believe that the Bengals will be under duress. And as I alluded to earlier with Joe Burrow, he'll have to get the ball out early. I think there will be probably 5 or 6 targets, I would say, to Joe Mixon in this game. So I think he will be able to break through that 24.5 yards receiving. So Joe Mixon minus 110 on the receiving. So just to recap here, folks, we'll go with Game Day Greg first on his 5 prop bets / player props. He's got Van Jefferson over 32.5 receiving yards, minus 115. The first charge timeout will be by the Bengals, minus 110. The juice on that. Opening kickoff to be a touchback, minus 105. Both teams to have 35-plus yard field goals made in the game, plus 110. And then T. Higgins, minus 69.5 receiving yards, minus 120. For Benny Buckets, Joe Burrow over 36.5 pass attempts, minus 115. The sack, what will happen first in the game, sack or touchdown? I have sacked first. A sack will happen first in the game, minus 110. Shortest field goal made in the game will be over 27.5 yards, minus 120. Matthew Stafford over 39.5 yards, longest completion. His longest completion will be over 39.5 yards for Stafford, minus 115. And Joe Mixon over 24.5 receiving yards, minus 110. I almost said their Game Day Greg. Almost. It was in my mind. I almost said instead of Matthew Stafford, I almost said Drew Stafford for you. I know that would be
Drew Stafford. Yes, for you folks that know the Buffalo Sabres history very well. Drew Stafford is certainly a legend. All right.
A legend of underachievement, perhaps, but nonetheless.
Yes. I did not think Drew Stafford was going to be brought up in the show, but I didn't think Didi Gregorius was going to be brought up in the show either. So Benny Buckets never ceases to amaze. All right. So now we're going to go with the biggest pick of them all, the Super Bowl pick. Benny Buckets, I'll lead up to it, and we'll get your pick here first.
Oh, okay. We'll defer, huh?
Yes. So the Los Angeles Rams versus Cincinnati Bengals. Rams are the 4-point favorite, minus 110. Bengals are laying 4 + 4, minus 110. Money line, Rams minus 185, Bengals plus 160. the points over under 48.5 -110 to the over and the under. Benny Buckets, what is your pick?
All right. Well, I thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's a rare opportunity that Game Day Greg gives us the summary of what the line is. So that's always special.
Yes.
I really like the Rams here, folks. I'm going to go with the Inglewood Rams, not to be confused with the Los Angeles Rams.
Here we go.
Formerly that thereof of the St. Louis Rams, and prior to St. Louis, they were actually in Los Angeles and Los Angeles Rams. So yes, regardless, we'll go with the Rams -4, be it of the St. Louis, Englewood, or Los Angeles incarnation, because a couple reasons here. One, the game is in Los Angeles. We saw how big of a factor that was last year when one of the participants was playing in their home stadium. Last year, the home participant actually was the home team, being that, of course, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This year, the Rams, interestingly, are the road team in their home stadium. I don't know if they use their own locker room or they use road locker room. Who knows? They will be wearing the road jersey. And in the last 10 Super Bowls, the team wearing the road or white jersey has won 7 of them. Just a little tidbit for you folks. Saw that the other day. I thought that was really interesting. Now, home teams can choose to wear the white jersey if they would like. So it doesn't mean that the road team has always won those games, and it is not based on record how the home team is determined. It's alternated, like how the baseball World Series used to alternate home field advantage, which they no longer do. It's based on record now in Major League Baseball. Another, cross sport reference for you folks. We got hockey tonight. We have baseball. Maybe at some point in this, we'll get to basketball as well. Who knows? But regardless, we do like the Rams. Another reason, also going off of last year's historic Super Bowl, where a home team hosted, or one of the participants was playing in their home stadium for the first time ever in a Super Bowl. If you recall last year, folks, the biggest problem for the Chiefs, other than Patrick Mahomes having some sort of a broken or a severely compromised right toe, from what I recall, his offensive line was pretty poor. So if you recall, Eric Fisher was out in that game. He had torn his Achilles or ACL, I believe. And the right tackle, his name escapes me at the moment, who the right tackle was last year for the Chiefs, starting right tackle. He was also out of the game, and they were missing one other offensive lineman, starting offensive lineman, the Chiefs were. And if you recall, he was under duress all night. And I think the same thing will happen here, not because of injury to the Bengals offensive line, but just because the Bengals offensive line isn't very good, folks. So I expect a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. I think that Matthew Stafford will have much more time to throw. The Rams have the better offensive line. They have the better wide receiver weapons overall. It's deeper. They have the better defensive secondary. They have the better defensive. They have the better defensive line. There could be an argument. The only thing the Bengals are better is maybe a better kicker and potentially better punter, and they could have the better quarterback. And it's always tough to pick against the better quarterback, especially when you have to lay points to do that. But given all the other factors in the game, I just don't see how the Bengals are able to keep up. And I think I think Joe Burrow is going to be under pressure all night. So I like the Rams here. I think the Rams are getting some disrespect in the national media. I hear a lot of talk about how the Bengals, and I hear a lot of talk about Joe Burrow, a lot about, about his Cartier sunglasses and pompadour hairstyle and all this other stuff. I don't hear a lot about Matthew Stafford, and it's a little surprising considering the game's in LA, and obviously LA is the much bigger market. So I think that the Rams are going to come out with a bit of an edge, and I think they're going to want it more, frankly. So give me the Rams -4 on the road at home in Inglewood at SoFi Stadium.
On the road, at home, in the road unis, in the road locker room. Right. Yes, with the confusion.
Right.
All right, very good. Rams -4. Okay. I am going to change it up. I'm going to go the over 48.5.
Wow.
Here.
Okay.
Yes, I think there will be some points.
It's a little cop out. I think you got to pick a side in the Super Bowl, but okay.
No, a pick's a pick. Pick's a pick here.
It's a little cop out. It's a little cop out.
No. Folks, we have been doing a pick whether you pick the spread or you pick the over-under.
Yeah, but it's the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl. This isn't any other game. This isn't week 6 between Indianapolis or Miami and Jacksonville and London. This is the Super Bowl.
Yes, I understand that, Benny Buckets, but I don't have a good feeling on either side here.
Okay.
So if we're sticking to the rules of the show, I'm I'm going to go ahead and stick with the over 48.5.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys want my pick, be on the lookout. Follow us on Twitter, Linebreaker Sports 2. I will submit a pick through there.
Good tease. It's a good tease.
Yes, good tease. Yes, get everyone to come over to the Twitter.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think there will be a lot of points, or not a lot, but I think there's going to be a fair amount of points scored in this game. I do think the Rams could get to 30, which means the Bengals would have to get to 19 in order for that to cover. I don't know. I'm not counting the Bengals out. I mean, if you folks remember all the way back in the first show, I did say the Cincinnati Bengals were going to win the AFC North at plus 650, and they did.
Plus 600. The odds keep getting longer every time we do this.
Oh, here we go. I think it was actually. I don't know. Well, folks, diehards, why don't you go back and
it's okay. I gave you the Rams plus 1,300 to win the Super Bowl, so it's okay. It's okay. No worries.
I think that might be a little high, but okay.
I think it was 12 to 1 or 13 to 1. I don't recall exactly.
Yeah. Divided by 2, subtract 500 in your close. All right. All right. Anyways, with the tangents here. I think there's going to be points scored. I think Matthew Stafford is going to put up some serious yards, and that's going to lead to touchdowns. And I could see it being a shootout. I'm hoping for a shootout. This is kind of a pick with my heart too, because I'd love to just sit back, watch a high scoring game, and yeah, I think the over could hit here. So give me over 48.5. Then follow the Twitter for my pick on either side.
Gotcha. Incidentally, as a adjunct here, this will be the final broadcast of the great Al Michaels on NBC.
And Chris Collinsworth.
And Chris Collinsworth is sticking around. He just signed an extension, but Al Michaels is not.
Well, together, yes.
Together.
The slide.
The slide.
Yeah, let's do it for Chris Collinsworth here.
The slide with the Pro Football Focus.
The slide.
And the complaining and sounding like somebody who's 10 years older than he actually is. Yes, with the Chris Collinsworth.
Someone said on Twitter, I thought it was pretty funny, the amount of times Chris Collinsworth is going to say Patrick Mahomes' name on the telecast.
I don't know if that was a prop bet or not.
Hammer the over. Hammer the over.
He's both going to tell you how these guys are not Patrick Mahomes.
Right. Exactly.
But
that's sad. No more.
But both of these teams put up more than 3 points in the second half of the game they played respectively in the championship game. So, in fairness, but
this is true.
And neither one of them has a Jackson Mahomes as a encumbrance upon their
or his lovely fiance who decided to spray champagne over the patrons in the seats. Yes, that's not a good look.
That feels good when it's 25 degrees out. I agree. So
yes. Imagine being a Bills fan. Yes, and sitting there and then getting champagne sprayed on you. That's
But anyways, but it will be interesting. Final game for Al Michaels, reportedly moving over to Amazon Prime to head up their Thursday night football coverage. That has not been made official, but that is the speculation in NFL media circles. So we'll be with the interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But it should be a very very interesting game, good game, and hopefully there are no political disruptions or any other shenanigans going on that would delay or cause any kind of issue with the game, as there seems to be a lot going on in that forum. Though that this is not the arena to discuss those issues, but hopefully,
of course,
those scenarios can be avoided. So
yes, anyway. I will leave this question to you here, Ben. Is Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer if the Rams win?
No.
Why not?
Because there's a lot of court. Is Trent Dilfer a Hall of Famer?
No.
Okay, he won a Super Bowl too. So
not as good as Matt Stafford though. Nowhere near the numbers.
Well, if you were down 30 points in every game in Detroit, you'd throw the ball 70 times a game too and have ridiculous numbers.
Well, this is true. Well, doesn't it? I mean, I feel like his legacy shifts here. The first
two playoff wins in 12 years. Sorry, not a Hall of Famer. Now, if he wins a second championship, yeah, I'll give it to him. But
his first year leaving the Lions, he goes on and wins the championship. That's
with a team that's about 140 million over the cap, and with 4 or 5 Hall of Famers or Hall of Fame caliber talents. I mean, not Hall.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, listen, he was second in the league in interceptions, or maybe led the league in interceptions this year during the regular season. He has played much better in the playoffs. Last week's or 2 weeks ago's goal line interception against the 49ers notwithstanding. But no, he is not a Hall of Fame in my book. No, he's not.
Okay.
Personally. Okay. He's in maybe the fantasy football Hall of Fame, but the reality football, the one in Canton, no, I would not put him in the Hall of Fame. Not, if he continues playing at the level he's playing now for another few years, that he's playing in the playoffs, he does that consistently, then sure, but not just based off of one Super Bowl win where, they didn't even play one of the top, in fairness, and give the Bengals a lot of credit. They didn't even play one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC. So
that's true. That's true. All right. Benny Bucket says he needs multiple Super Bowls in order to make it. Okay.
2+.
Interesting.
2+.
All right.
There've been a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL who've won Super Bowls and aren't in the Hall of Fame. So
that's true. But I don't know if they have quite the career Matt Stafford has had. But hey, that's up for discussion. Folks, comment down below. What do you think? Is Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer if he wins this Super Bowl? But on that note,
I'm guessing you're on the side where you think he is a Hall of Famer.
I do. Just given everything that's happened in Detroit, how much he's meant to that city, that fan base, that team, the numbers he put up with that terrible team year after year after year, and then going to LA and potentially winning a Super Bowl his very first year outside of Detroit. That's quite the storyline, and I don't know. I think that could just push him over the top. Of course, he's going to play a couple more years, so that certainly plays a role in solidifying himself as a Hall of Famer. But I do think it should at least be a conversation that he could potentially be a Hall of Famer. But that's
maybe someday. I mean, listen, Phillip Rivers will probably get there. He never even played in the Super Bowl, so Eli Manning will get there, and he's got better stats than Eli Manning. Although Eli Manning is much more experience and a success in the playoffs, not just winning Super Bowls, but from an overall perspective, as does, say, a guy like Ben Roethlisberger, who I'm sure at some point he'll pass his stats as well if he sticks around. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly a good question. It's not an unreasonable one. I am not a big fan of an overall Matthew Stafford experience. I think that he's overrated personally, but that's just my personal opinion. So,
all right, well, very good. I think that's going to do it, folks. Wrapping it up on a little debate there. I like that.
Matthew Stafford, yes.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford debate. We'll have that timestamp so you guys can just listen to that debate. Yeah, right. All right. I am Game Day Greg alongside Benny Buckets. This has been a fantastic show, the 25th show, the Super Bowl special. We're excited to be back on the air doing this for you guys. I know we love doing this every time. And these past couple of weeks have been interesting with the COVID, the scheduling issues. It's been quite the interesting past couple of weeks, but we're back. This will be posted for you guys Saturday morning, most likely. Obviously, you'll be seeing this on Saturday morning, but we will also have our picks up on our Twitter page as well. If you don't want to listen to us ramble on for probably 45 minutes. But yeah. Anyways, I am Game Day Greg alongside Benny Buckets. So long, folks. Happy Super Bowl weekend.
Yes. Take care. Enjoy the game, boy. Enjoy the game, folks.